we've got armor-shredding revolvers and military beasts that paint the sky with lead. Just grab your ear protection first. Take John Browning's legendary 50 BMG cartridge, designed in 1918 to shoot down planes and pierce tank holes, and ask the dumbest possible question. What if we put it in a pistol? That's the Triple Action Thunder. This single-shot hand cannon weighs 5.4 kilograms, measures 43 centimeters overall, and chambers the same 12.7 by 99 millimeter round used by the Barrett M82 sniper rifle and the M2 Browning machine gun. It debuted at SHOT Show 2004 as a prototype and never reached production. Why? Well, because firing a 50 BMG out of your hand is exactly as insane as it sounds. The Thunder uses a high-efficiency muzzle brake plus a nitrogen recoil controller hydraulic shock absorber to keep your wrists attached to your body. That footage shows water bottles getting absolutely vaporized at point blank, the kind of damage you usually need a rifle for. Today, surviving prototypes are collector unicorns, prized by people who think a Desert Eagle is for tourists. Strap in, because the GAU-8A Avenger isn't just a gun, it's the heart of the A-10 Warthog, and the entire plane was literally built around it. This 30mm 7-barrel rotary cannon spits depleted uranium armor-piercing rounds at 1,013 meters per second and a fixed cyclic rate of 3,900 rounds per minute. That's the legendary brrr sound from every combat clip you've ever seen. Each shell weighs 0.69 kilograms and the gun's recoil hits 45 kilonewtons, more thrust than one of the A-10's 2 jet engines. Translation, when this thing fires, it literally slows the plane down. The Avenger shreds tanks, IFVs, bunkers, and anything else the Soviets ever bolted armor to. It's also mounted on the Dutch Goalkeeper naval defense system to swat incoming missiles near Invincible-class aircraft carriers. It is worshipped in Battlefield and in Call of Duty after 1,400 scores kill streak and every modern military shooter. If you hear the brrr, congratulations, he wasn't coming after you. Russia's NSV Utes was great until the USSR collapsed and the factory ended up in Kazakhstan. So Russia handed Dektyarev plant a brief: build something better. The result is the Kord, K-O-R-D, a 12.7 by 108 millimeter gas-operated monster that fires 650 to 750 RPM with muzzle velocities of 860 meters per second and range 2,000 meters on ground targets. The Kord rides on T-90 and T-14 Armata tanks, but here's the absurd part. It's the world's first heavy machine gun light enough to fire from a bipod. Even from the hip if your shoulders can take it. Soldiers have done it on video. Real Terminator energy. With BS-41 tungsten core armor-piercing rounds, it punches through 20 millimeters of steel at 750 meters. And through walls, and through engine blocks, and through whatever's hiding behind them. The Type 74 is China's modernized version of the Soviet LPO-50, and somehow it's still in active service with the People's Liberation Army. While most armies retired flamethrowers in the 1970s, Beijing decided that some problems are best solved with a jet of burning thickened diesel. Unlike the fireball effects you see in movies, real flamethrowers, like the LPO-50, shoot 40 to 50 meters with a sticky, burning liquid that clings to everything it touches. The Type 74 carries two 4-liter fuel tanks, making it lighter while keeping its bite. Instead of a pilot light, it uses electrically detonated compression cartridges, meaning it actually works in Arctic cold where Western flamethrowers froze solid. Also, the flame projector is disguised as a light machine gun, complete with a totally pointless bipod, so enemy snipers won't immediately target the operator. These clips show combat engineers staging exercises straight out of a Cold War newsreel. It's basically a fire hose from hell that turns any fortification into an oven. The Pfeiffer Zaliska is what happens when a revolver has an identity crisis and thinks it's a cannon. This Austrian beast is widely considered the most powerful production revolver on Earth, chambered in the legendary 600 Nitro Express elephant cartridge. It weighs 6 kilograms, almost as heavy as a bowling ball, with a 33.5 centimeter ported barrel and a 5-shot cylinder forged from tungsten steel alloy. The cylinder alone weighs 2 kilograms. Each round costs around $40 and launches a 900 grain bullet at roughly 462 meters per second, generating about 6,225 joules of muzzle energy. That's roughly 8 times the punch of a .44 Magnum. The whole revolver runs about $17,000 with a gold-plated hammer, gold inlaid engraving, and a price tag that says, "I'm not for hunting, I'm for showing off." Most videos show shooters bracing both-handed against the recoil. Skip the ear protection and you'll catch a literal concussion, but that's exactly why he made it into the Guinness Book of World Records. The GAU-19A is what happens when you take the minigun and ask, but what if 50 cal? This 3-barrel electric Gatling gun fires 12.7 by 99mm NATO at a selectable 1,000 or 2,000 rounds per minute. Compared to its 7.62mm little brother, M134, the GAU-19 is bigger, heavier, and way meaner. Each round leaves the barrel at around 880 meters per second, with effective range out to 1,800 meters and slant range pushing 6 kilometers. So that small boat 800 meters away is already done. It can be mounted on Humvees, Black Hawks, naval aircraft, and aircraft pods. Plus, load it with Mark 211 Raufoss explosive rounds, and it's basically a baby autocannon. Pirates and small boat swarms hate this thing, and I think I know why. When Holland & Holland declined to build wealthy hunter William Feldstein another 600 Nitro Express in 1985, his answer was the most expensive flex in firearms history. Well, then build me a 700. The result is one of the most powerful sporting cartridges ever made. The 700 Nitro Express launches a 1,000 grain, 65-gram bullet at 610 meters per second, generating 12,100 joules of muzzle energy. That's roughly 4 times a .308 Winchester. The custom double rifle weighs 9 kilograms just to keep the shooter from getting hospitalized. Recoil clocks in at 217 joules, 10 times the kick of a .308. Most clips show grown men visibly thrown backward by the blast, like someone hit them with a ram. Originally built to drop charging elephants in Cape Buffalo at point-blank range, the rifles cost upwards of $200,000, and a single round runs about $100. H&H has only built 17 of them, ever. And if the 700 Nitro is an earthquake, the 950 JDJ is a meteor strike. This is the largest centerfire rifle ever made, firing a 24.1mm.
That's a workout.
The rifle itself, known as the Fat Mac, weighs about 23 kilograms, which is the only thing keeping it from exploding the shooter's shoulder upon firing. Its bullet weighs 230 grams and leaves the barrel at 670 meters per second with around 52,450 joules of muzzle energy. That's over 40 times an AR-15 round and roughly triple a 50 BMG. Without that break, free recoil hits 270 joules, nearly double a 20mm anti-tank rifle. Only 3 of these rifles were ever built, and with ammo no longer in production, each shot is like firing a piece of jewelry downrange. The Saiga 12 is what happens when you take the legendary reliability of an AK-47 and give it a 12-gauge shotgun appetite. This semi-automatic, and sometimes fully automatic, beast uses a gas-operated system to cycle shotgun shells as fast as you can pull the trigger. Whether you're using a 10-round stick mag or a 30-round drum, it turns any hallway into a no-fly zone. In these destruction videos, the Saiga is shown sawing through trees or obliterating rows of watermelons in heartbeats. It's a favorite of competitive shooters and special forces alike because of its sheer versatility. And in the hands of someone like John Wick, it's less of a gun and more of a delete button for anything within 50 meters. If you've ever wanted a machine gun that fires grenades, congratulations, the Mark 19 has you covered. This 40mm belt-fed automatic grenade launcher has been Uncle Sam's bunker buster since the 1970s, and it's still ripping in 2026. Cyclic rate of fire is 375 RPM with practical sustained fire around 60 RPM because, well, it's hurling 40 by 53mm grenades. Mark 19 has a maximum range of 2,212 meters, and each M430 high-explosive dual-purpose round has a 5-meter radius of the blast, a 15-meter wound radius, and punches through 51 millimeters of rolled homogeneous armor on a direct hit. It means most APCs and IFVs are toast. The launcher itself weighs 35 kilograms and rides on everything. It is heavy, it is loud, and it is capable of turning a quiet field into a Michael Bay movie in roughly 3 seconds.
Have a meteor go crash, and it's all like crawl.
This is the sawed-off double barrel, aka the street howitzer. Take a regular 12-gauge double barrel, saw the barrels down under 46 centimeters, chop the stock to a pistol grip, and now you got a monster that fits under a long coat. Each shell carries 9 lead pellets of double-aught buckshot flying out around 400 meters per second. With no choke to keep the pellets together, the spread goes wide the second they leave the barrels. Just look at this. One shot and a plank turns into a sieve. Inside 10 meters, nothing survives a direct hit. Past that range, accuracy is more of a polite suggestion. The recoil is monstrous, but forget about aiming. This is a point-and-pull weapon, no time to think, and that's why Mad Max chose it as a main tool. Picture a 6-shot revolver. Now, imagine each chamber holds a 40mm grenade. Ladies and gentlemen, the M32A1, the U.S. Marine Corps' designated Delete the Room tool. Built by Milcor USA, this beast weighs around 8.6 kilograms loaded and dumps all 6 40 by 46mm rounds downrange in roughly 3 seconds if your trigger finger has any commitment. Just imagine, maximum range, 400 meters, accurate point target range, 150 meters, and each high explosive grenade has a 5-meter blast radius and chews through light vehicles like wet cardboard. The cylinder is spring-driven and rotates automatically after each shot, so all you have to do is pull and point. Watching the slow-mo of a grenade flying out and detonating across a field is genuinely unhinged. The Mini Uzi is essentially the original Icon's angry little brother who clearly has zero chill. It packs a legendary reputation into a frame so small you can basically hide it under a light jacket. But don't let its size fool you. This little monster spits lead at a blistering 950 to 1100 rounds per minute. With a muzzle velocity of 375 meters per second, it can empty a 20-round magazine before the first casing hits the ground. The shorter bolt is the secret. Effective range tops out at 100 meters, but this isn't a long-range tool. It has appeared in everything from The Matrix to Terminator, usually held by a guy who doesn't plan on missing at close range. It is the perfect choice for bodyguards or anyone who needs to turn a small room into a lead-filled blender in under 2 seconds. Here's a question almost nobody asked. What if you took a revolver and chambered it for shotgun shells? The Turks at Sulan Arms answered anyway. The SR-410 is a 5-shot double-action 410-gauge revolver shotgun engineered specifically for the Canadian market because Canadian gun laws have, let's call them, creative loopholes. It has a 2.05 kilogram weight, 250mm barrel with a 70-75 alloy receiver. The cylinder swallows 5 shells of 2 3/4 or 3-inch 410 ammunition. And before anyone scoffs at 410 being one of the smallest shotgun gauges, the 410 slug actually packs nearly double the muzzle energy of a .357 Magnum. So the gauge is not a weakness, it's a violation of the law in disguise. Today, it's one of the strangest hybrid firearms in production, and it's still completely non-restricted in Canada. Allied soldiers already hated the MG42 so much they nicknamed it Hitler's buzzsaw. So German engineers took one, upgraded it to NATO standards, and called it the MG3. Nothing important changed, meaning the rate of fire still hits up to 1,200 rounds per minute. For comparison, most machine guns max out around 600, and the MG3 doubles that. Its 7.62 by 51mm NATO rounds exit at 820 meters per second, creating a continuous stream that sounds less like gunfire and more like a very angry zipper. Effective range reaches 1,200 meters on a tripod, but the firing crew need to wear asbestos gloves for barrel charges, because at this rate of fire, the barrel overheats every 150 rounds. Over 50 countries have deployed this gun across more than 6 decades. PUBG players know it as a care package weapon. Frontline soldiers know it as something you absolutely do not want trained in your direction, and both groups are correct. If you've ever seen Top Gun or any movie with a fighter jet doing a strafing run, you've already seen the M61 Vulcan in action. This 20mm 6-barrel rotary cannon has been the standard gun bolted into pretty much every major American fighter since 1959. From the F-14 Tomcat all the way to the F-22 Raptor and the F-35. General Electric started designing this beast back in 1946 under the appropriately metal name Project Vulcan. And somehow, the design is still doing its job nearly 80 years later. The numbers are completely insane. 6,000 rounds per minute on the standard M61A1, climbing to 6,600 RPM on the lighter M61A2 in the F-22, with each round leaving the barrel at 1,036 meters a second. At full chat, the gun spits 100 rounds per second, which is why pilots only fire it in 1 to 2 second bursts, unless they want to empty their entire 511-round drum in under 5 seconds. But here's where it gets really wild. The Vulcan didn't stay in the sky. The US Navy strapped it onto warships and even tanks. Commonly known as the Bouncing Betty, the S-Mine is the most terrifying frog that can jump on you. This World War II German anti-personnel mine doesn't just explode in the ground. When triggered by a tripwire or pressure, a small charge launches the mine 0.6 to 1.5 meters into the air before it detonates. At waist height, it sprays 360 steel balls and scrap metal in every direction with a lethal radius of 20 meters. In historical training films, the bounce happens so fast you can't even blink before the fragmentation cloud hits. It was a psychological nightmare for Allied soldiers, earning a grisly reputation in films. It's a weapon designed not just to kill, but to maim and terrify everyone within a 100-meter radius. One wrong step and the ground literally jumps up to bite you. So, if the world was ending tomorrow and you could only pick one of these beasts to keep you safe, which one are you grabbing? I'm gonna have to go with anything attached to a plane. A plane sounds good to have in those circumstances. Drop your choice in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.